Members, it's the appointed time. We have a quorum. Welcome to this meeting of the panel on information technology and broadcasting. Agenda item 1, information papers issued since the last meeting. Since the last meeting, the Secretariat has issued 2 information papers. The details are set out in the agenda for members' reference. Members, please note that Mr. Michael Luk, on the 10th of July this year, issued to me a letter requesting this panel to discuss issues relating to popularization of AI application and related human resource training. The administration has provided a written response. The relevant papers have been issued to members. Let's see if members have any views on this. I think this is a topic that's worth our attention and discussion. This might go to the manpower panel in terms of the human resource training. However, I do think it's worth our discussion. That is the topic about popularization of AI. Let's see if we can schedule a time with the administration to discuss this. Agenda item 2, items for discussion at the next meeting. The next meeting is scheduled for 2:30 p.m. on the 11th of November this year. I haven't received the agenda items proposed by the administration yet. We will discuss with the administration what we should discuss for the next meeting. Items to be discussed include development of 5G technology in Hong Kong, as well as film development in Hong Kong. This is a heated topic recently. We can see if the administration is ready to talk about these topics in our future meetings. Any views on what to discuss in the next meeting? If not, we will have a discussion with the administration about this. From 2 to 4 p.m. on the 29th of October, there will be the panel cum PA briefing from the Secretary for Innovation, Technology and Industry, Secretary for Commerce and Economic Development, as well as Secretary for Culture, Sports and Tourism. Members, please take note of this. Agenda item 3, work related to safeguarding and promoting information security. Let's invite the government representatives to join us. Members who would like to speak, please press the request to speak button.
好，我哋歡迎副局長。
Let us welcome Undersecretary for Innovation, Technology and Industry, Ms. Lillian Chung, as well as Mr. Tony Wong, Commissioner for Digital Policy. I know that there is a PowerPoint presentation from the administration. Over to you, Undersecretary. Good afternoon, Madam Chair. Our colleagues from the Digital Policy Office, or the DPO, and I are going to brief members on the latest situation of information security in Hong Kong and the government's work in this area. We see an increase of the number of security incidents in Hong Kong in the past few years. Enterprises and members of the public rely a lot on the internet, and we see an increased risk of cybersecurity. The government has, on different fronts, enhanced cybersecurity at the community level. The government has been working closely with different sectors to enhance the resilience of the sectors against cybersecurity risks. We also work towards enhancing public's awareness on guarding against frauds and cybersecurity risks. We also hold staff training and different programs. For instance, this August, we rolled out different enhancement measures to enhance system management and security of information systems of public organizations and government departments and bureaus. We also, at primary schools and secondary schools, wrote out different measures to nurture IT talents to enhance Hong Kong's ability to guard against cybersecurity risks. The government will continue to enhance the IT system security of the government as well as public organizations to ensure that we build a safe and reliable smart city. Now I will invite Mr. Daniel Chung, Deputy Commissioner Digital Infrastructure, to tell members in details what the government has done in terms of promoting information security. Afterwards, we'd be happy to take questions from members. Please begin, Mr. Daniel Chung. Thank you. As we see the development of digital technology, cybersecurity has been a focus of many of us. We noticed that security incidents as well as technology crimes have been on the rise compared to previous year. The government, therefore, has rolled out different measures. We tackle cybersecurity risks at different levels and on all fronts. First, at society level, the government has been working with HKIRC, the Hong Kong Internet Registration Corporation Limited, as well as HKCERT, Hong Kong Computer Emergency Response Team Coordination Center, to roll out the partnership program for cybersecurity information sharing to provide free checking services as well as telephone consultation and free online staff training. This is to enhance SMEs' ability to guard against cybersecurity risks. Also, the government has been proactively stepping up public education to support the 2024 Cybersecurity Awareness Campaign. We have launched a campaign themed "Together We Create a Safe Cyber World" to enhance public awareness. The Office of the Private Commissioner for Personal Data also issued guidelines to raise public awareness. The police has launched Scam Meter, and through different channels, it heightens public awareness against frauds. In addition, GovSearch.hk, through joining different international organizations, promotes regional cooperations and exchanges. DPO last October, together with HKIRC, organized the first cybersecurity symposium. This was to facilitate exchanges among experts. This September, Mr. Tony Wong, the Commissioner for Digital Policy, led a delegation to Nansha to support the China Cybersecurity Week activities. During the trip, we signed an MOU on facilitating cybersecurity exchange and collaboration in Guangdong, Hong Kong, Macau with the mainland authorities to step up exchanges and sharing of information. To further enhance protection of computer system of critical infrastructure, the government will formulate policies and guidelines. Within this year, we will table the bill to the Legislative Council. By the end of this year, we will also promulgate a set of practice guides on cybersecurity. The government has updated the IT security policy and guidelines to enhance the protection of IT systems. We have also promulgated different practice guides, including the guidelines on cloud computing systems and so on, to enhance security of our IT systems. DPO has also organized different activities, including seminars and sharing sessions. Also, the DPO has, together with the HKIIT, organized a cybersecurity certificate training scheme. We will arrange for the relevant IT staff to take part in the training scheme. In 2025, there will also be a government-wide phishing drill campaign to step up training for government staff to enhance their knowledge on cybersecurity. This August, the government rolled out different measures to further enhance the IT systems of public organizations and government departments in the area of system management. We are stepping up the role of senior officials, and we are stepping up system checks and compliance audits. The DPO will conduct health checks, and it will take the initiative to conduct compliance audits to ensure that the IT systems within the government can run smoothly and safely. This November, we will hold the first cybersecurity attack and defense drill. Government bureaus and departments, as well as public organizations, will form blue teams to defend against simulated hacker attacks launched by red teams comprising cybersecurity experts and industry players to test the response and resilience capabilities of systems in the event of cyber attacks. In terms of human resource development, the DPO as well as the relevant sectors have organized different activities and events for students, including workshops, competitions, and other programs. This is to enhance students' information literacy as well as knowledge in relation to cybersecurity. VTC in 2023 November established the Hong Kong Institute of Information Technology. It provides IT and technology-related programs to respond to the needs of our society. The Employees Retraining Board also offers regular courses to enhance trainees' skills. As we see higher risks against cybersecurity around the world, there is a need for us to enhance our defensive capability. I have touched on the measures we have rolled out at society level and also on human resources front. We will continue to work closely with the relevant stakeholders so that we can build Hong Kong into a safer and more resilient smart city. Thank you. 14 members have pressed the button to speak. They are Mr. Jesse Shah, Mr. Kenneth Leung, Mr. Lo Wai Kwok, Mr. Cheng Hock Fung, Mr. Lam Chun Sing, Mr. Tang Fei, Mr. Michael Luke, Mr. Peter Shiu, Mr. Chen Xiu Hong, Ms. Eunice Yung, Mr. Holden Chow, Mr. Dennis Leung, Mr. Kenneth Falk, and myself. 4 minutes for each member. Mr. Chang Hai Lung. Madam Chair, I'm not a member of this panel, but this topic is close to my heart. That's why I am attending this meeting. On digital or online frauds, the relevant number has been on the rise, so I think there is room for us to enhance cybersecurity. We need to help SMEs' resilience against cyber attacks. According to the paper, paragraph 5, the government over the past 2 years has seen 19,400 people taking part in the training. How did you arrive at this figure? After a 20-minute training, trainees might get a certificate. Is it the case that you calculated the number of certificates issued to arrive at this figure? There are media reports that some companies or organizations deceived the government by having people join the ITC's program and training courses. They had the so-called ghost trainees. Are you aware of that, Mr. Jesse Shang? Through the HKIRC, we rolled out self-training programs online. These programs and courses are all provided for free. The HKIRC uses its own funds to run these training courses. Therefore, we do not ask the HKIRC to achieve certain targets. Apart from online staff training, we also work with the HK Cert. We collaborate with them regularly to provide, for instance, symposium or skill training courses. We also offer advice on free scanning. We try to engage firms that deal with cybersecurity to offer these services, and also we roll out these services based on SMEs' needs.
I hope the government can pay attention to this. Over the 2 years, roughly 220,000 people took part in the training. That's nearly 10,000 people per month. If the program worked so well, then I doubt scams would be so rampant these days. Madam Chair, allow me to supplement. This is an online self-learning module. So the HKIRC only tallies the number of users of that program. So it's a tally of people who use the platform, people who view the videos, and they're counted towards the total. Sure, we can talk to the HKIRC about enhancing the arrangement, such as issuing certificates to learners. But for that to happen, we will require a more structured training program. Under the VTC, we now have the Hong Kong Institute of Information Technology. We're talking to the HKITC about certificate-based courses. In those cases, learners have to receive a certain number of hours of training, they pass an exam, and only then they get a certificate. We're now in talks with the Institute about certificate programs for government workers in cybersecurity. Once we create this atmosphere of training, and then we will make cybersecurity training required for certain job posts, we will continue to step up the work. Mr. Kenneth Leung. Now, Annex 2 figures from the Hong Kong Police Force. In 2023, misuse of computers, the number shot up by more than 1,000%. Unauthorized access to online service accounts up 1,944%. So this is a problem in cybersecurity. So do we have targeted publicity? Do we have targeted measures to protect people against this kind of crime? Now, my second question has to do with human resources in cybersecurity. Starting from paragraph 8 of the paper, at different levels of schooling and also retraining, more training is available. So for the government, have you assessed the human resources needed for the cybersecurity space? So do we tell young people more about cybersecurity engineers? For people looking for a career change, can we offer courses recognized under the qualifications framework in areas such as cybersecurity? Thank you. First, public education. This is top of mind for us. Scams are on the rise. In promoting cybersecurity, the Digital Policy Office conducted a round of publicity. We had a forum, we had the trend body design, and we also had fun days, workshops, etc. We want to bring together the industry and the public. on guarding against scams. That's a form of targeted publicity. On phishing, we also have a publicity van visiting different parts of the city. The force also takes these crimes very seriously. Last year, Scam Meter came out. That was followed by Scam Meter Plus. Those platforms alert people to pitfalls online. And then we also have the Cyber Defender website. Again, this is publicity. The force also works with stakeholders like telecom providers in blocking certain websites. Now, on nurturing talent, this is a priority for us, especially on nurturing young people. The DPO and the HKIRC and also HK Cert and the police force are working closely together. There are regular competitions and events. Now, there's a tournament on cybersecurity, and there's also a youth program in cybersecurity. This is to raise awareness among our young people of cybersecurity. We also want to get more young people to join the cybersecurity landscape. We need new blood to join this industry. The member made a good point, and that is courses within the qualifications framework. That's why we encourage tertiary institutions to offer such courses. We also consider recognized courses for people already with a job, and we will be working closely with the VTC and other training institutions. Next, Dr. Lu Kwok. Thank you, Madam Chair. This discussion is about safeguarding and promoting information security. We should do a joint panel meeting with the panel on security. We need the Security Bureau and the police here. We cannot fix the problem when we only look at the issue as a technological issue. Let's look at Annex 2, figures from the police force. Crime figures on the rise 2022, 22,797. That's 2022, but in 2023, that's 34,112. Up to July this year, we had already had 19,257. The figure in 2023 was up nearly 50% from 2022. Financial losses saw an even more staggering increase. In 2022, it's more than $3.2 billion. In 2023, losses totaled more than $5.4 billion, up 71%. As of July this year, losses exceeded $3 billion. These are staggering figures. People and businesses fell victim, and they're really suffering. We don't have people from the Security Bureau or the police force here, but I want to approach this as a security matter. We have seen news reports. There are cases solved and still being investigated. There are cross-border criminal syndicates involved. We need regional collaboration to solve these cross-border crimes. That's my question, but I'm not sure if we have officials who can answer these questions here. Thank you. The Security Bureau has provided some information, so I will give a brief response. On cross-boundary crimes, especially scams, our police force has worked with the mainland public security authorities and also other regional police forces. That takes the form of joint operations and sharing of intelligence in August. Large-scale crime syndicates were neutralized. The member may be looking for more details. We will be passing on this message to the Security Bureau. Madam Chair, I still have time left. I have no idea how to follow up on this matter. We should not just approach this issue as an INT matter. People are worried. Even legitimate commercial activities online are suffering because people cannot tell what's fraud from legitimate activities. Mr. Tony Wong, I thank the member for his concern. The police take an intelligence-led approach. The force works with law enforcement in the mainland and overseas in tackling these crimes. Scams happen because people drop their guard. The technology involved in phone scams involve basic technology. Back in September 2022, the force launched Scam Meter. System updates came out. There's also been publicity. Here, financial fraud is also involved. So in November last year, the police worked with the HKMA in launching an FPS proxy identifier. So the FPS has been linked up with Scam Meter. People get an alert when they transfer money. Starting from February this year, people have also been able to report suspicious incoming calls and websites. The police, the DPO, and cybersecurity professionals have been working to urge people to stay on alert so that they don't fall prey to scammers. We will continue to step up public education and publicity. Next, Mr. Chen Hock-fong. Much has been done to raise anti-scam awareness. I also see efforts to plug loopholes and educate the public. There's also collaboration involving the public to roll out Scam Meter Plus. I know collaboration with telecom providers has also been stepped up. Scammers reach people through phone, email, social media platforms. That happens through telecom service providers. How do we step up cooperation with telecom businesses to block fraud at source? Have we considered legislating to impose a duty on telecom businesses? You issue guidelines, but businesses can ignore guidelines. We have received many complaints about scam ads on Facebook because Facebook can choose to remove those ads or not. Do we have a legislative framework mandating the removal of scam ads? If we don't have such laws, will we enact such laws? There are now AI-based fraud. Do we have AI-based mechanisms to guard against fraud? What are some ideas the government have?
I'll invite the Commissioner to answer the questions. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Mr. Chen, for the questions. We work with telecom service providers. The police has been, through the OFCA, working with these service providers to intercept any phone numbers involved in confirmed frauds. People get alerts and confirmation functions when they receive phone messages. We will look into how we can step up measures in this regard. On internet and on social media platforms, there might be fraudulent information. When the police detect this information, it will take actions in accordance with the law. Not all the existing legislations we have now can apply to cybersecurity crimes. However, there are ways that we can tackle cybersecurity crimes based on the laws we have, so the police would continue to take actions. In terms of whether we can make use of technology to combat cybercrimes, understand that a lot of our research teams are working on this. If there are any technologies that can assist the DPO or the police force to take enforcement actions, we would do that. For instance, we would look for any technologies that can help enhance our cybersecurity system. Mr. Lam Chun-hung. Thank you, Madam Chair. The government or public organizations may encounter problems in their security systems or IT systems. And oftentimes, the contractors would have to come in. This is because contractors are of different qualities. They provide services of different qualities. They might not have taken the appropriate measures to monitor the security of their IT systems. Sometimes they've won the bid, but they do not deploy enough manpower to monitor the IT systems. How do you ensure that government contractors can step up monitoring on ensuring the security of the IT systems? If it is the contractor's fault in terms of the negligence in ensuring the security system, would you, for instance, introduce a demerit point system to lower their priority for bidding for future projects in the future? This is to encourage contractors to do better. The papers mention about how the government train up IT talent. There are undergraduate programs as well as sub-degree programs on cybersecurity. There are also programs offered by the Employees Retraining Board that might not focus so much on cybersecurity, however. Overseas, there are programs organized by the government, for instance, apprenticeship program that help train up cybersecurity talent. It's known as an apprenticeship programs. However, trainees after undergoing training for 2 to 3 years, they would be qualified to work in the government. Can the government take the lead in working with academic institutions to train up IT personnel? Upon completion of the relevant programs, they would be allowed to work in the government to ensure that there are enough talents within the government. Undersecretary, on the question about contractors, like the member said, they play an important role to help government departments and bureaus to better monitor their contractors. The DPO has issued a guideline on monitoring contractors. These guidelines include good practices as well as practice guides. At the same time, we are having agreements for contractors who fail to perform to their standards. The DPO may disqualify these contractors and suspend them from continue to bid for projects. Apart from these existing measures, we are thinking of how to step up monitoring of contractors. We want to help government departments and bureaus in organizing large-scale projects, identify good contractors. So we're working to roll out enhancement measures in this regard. We want our staff to have on-job training or experience in terms of tackling cybersecurity risks. So the police and the HKIRC have held a cyber and attack defense drill. This is to allow our IT staff to enhance their professional levels and resilience against cybersecurity risks. As for whether there can be programs and courses that can be rolled out to government staff, well, the DPO as well as the HKIIT are designing courses. Government departments and bureaus will send their staff to take part in these courses and programs so that they can acquire skills that they need for their jobs. Mr. Tang Fei, I have 3 questions. First, you mentioned about a contest just now. Would that contest be opened to secondary school students and university students? This kind of cybersecurity contests are quite popular overseas and on the mainland. We can have similar contests in Hong Kong to raise public awareness in cybersecurity. This is a very good STEAM activity for students. Secondly, the government's paper touches on a number of measures. This includes the legislative framework as well as collaboration between different government departments. I want to know if there have been any operations or drills within the government. For instance, in the banking sector, they have stress tests, and at schools, they have fire drills. Since cybersecurity is close to the heart of many members of the business sector, I want to know if you hold any regular drills. Lastly, to enhance SMEs' defense capabilities, well, what have you done? There have been hacker intrusions in schools, and this does not require sophisticated skills. These hackers make use of ransomware. In 2007, some schools encountered hacker intrusions. School servers were hacked, and the hackers demanded schools for money and ransom. Different schools see different capabilities in terms of their software and hardware. Some schools sponsoring bodies through their central system, they may be able to ensure their cybersecurity systems. However, for some smaller schools, they may not have money or resources to hire IT personnel to protect their IT systems. And these schools are more vulnerable and may be subject to cyber attacks. Undersecretary, I'll respond to the first two questions and the Commissioner will take the third question. Currently, there is a cybersecurity contest at the post-secondary education level. We think that this is a good way for us to step up publicity and enhance our young people's skills in ensuring cybersecurity. Secondly, are there any actual attack and defense drills held within the government? The DPO will, within this year, coordinate a cybersecurity attack and defense drill. This is a very practical drill. Government bureaus and departments, as well as relevant public organizations, will form blue teams to defend against simulated hacker attacks launched by cybersecurity experts. There will be a real-life cybersecurity attack and defense drill. We'll also step up the number of drills under our current regulations. Commissioner, to supplement, as mentioned in our PowerPoint presentation, the Security Bureau is formulating legislations to enhance regulation of IT systems of critical infrastructure. As far as I understand, under the proposed legislation, organizations of critical infrastructure will be asked to hold regular drills so that their defense capability and awareness can be enhanced. On support for schools, the HKIRC is providing free website checking services and tests. The education as well as the social welfare sectors are included. And therefore, IT systems of primary and secondary schools are also covered under this service scheme. We encourage primary and secondary schools to apply for the free website checking services. We will ask the HKIRC to put in more resources to offer support to organizations, including schools, with relatively weak IT systems.
Mr. Peter Xu. Thank you, Madam Chair. Work on safeguarding and promoting information security. This applies to mobile phones and the internet. Individuals and businesses are also involved. Cyber crimes have been rampant. The police are putting in the work. Let's come up with ways to stamp out these crimes. For individuals, they get calls from people posing as banks, but really are finance companies. And then there are scams where people get a message, you press a button, you lose all your personal data. I've seen on Facebook and other social media platforms, there's an ad with a celebrity in the ad, but that's really just investment scams. At first, I found it puzzling. I found out that all those ads were fraudulent. The authorities should reach out to the social media platforms early on and have those ads taken off. And there should be some kind of vetting on social media platforms. Why can scammers put fraudulent ads on social media platforms? We have to talk to these platforms. Otherwise, those platforms are actually abetting criminals. And then people have their data stolen by criminals. Some people have their files on their computer locked by the criminals. So people cannot access their own data. They cannot run their business. So what support can we give to these people? Now, some people may have a backup system. When one system is locked, they turn to their backup system. With stronger safeguards, criminals will have a harder time hurting these people. As Mr. Tang Fei was saying, schools are also targeted by criminals. Schools receive government funding. So can we have cybersecurity firewalls for all schools? And can we also cover private businesses in our cybersecurity measures? Commissioner, thank you. Mr. Peter Shiu made some good points. On scams, the police force and the IT sector have done much. We need more publicity. We've been reminding businesses and people not to visit suspicious websites. Find out about the background of a site before visiting there. Now, under the Hong Kong Productivity Council, we have the HK Search. The HK Search runs regular anti-phishing exercises. That's done within the government. We're now promoting this kind of exercise in the industry. We simulate phishing email or phishing SMS messages. When a worker of an organization clicks into those links, we send these people a reminder. So this is an approach that businesses can consider. Now, on cyber attacks, ransomware, for example, criminals encrypt your files on your system. What businesses can do is to back up their systems. Cloud service providers offer backup services at an affordable rate. This way, if something goes wrong with your files, you have backups to refer to. But at the end of the day, we shouldn't visit suspicious websites. We should stay alert, and we should also use Scam Meter. Verify a website before you visit that site. Thank you. Mr. Chen Xiu-hong. The discussion today is about work on safeguarding and promoting information security. A spate of incidents came to mind involving different bodies such as Cyberport and the HKEAA. In that Cyberport incident, An investigation followed. Recommendations were made. I believe those recommendations, once put in place, will enhance cybersecurity. But then there are semi-official statutory bodies. For these bodies, we had a spate of cybersecurity incidents back then. Have we asked those bodies to look into these incidents so that we don't have any recurrence of those incidents involving rookie mistakes? Do we have a timescale? Now, I care deeply about SMEs. These small and medium enterprises may not have the means to step up their cybersecurity, and they may also have underestimated the harm of cybersecurity incidents. But these businesses may lack the resources. Awareness matters, so does education. Cyberport has this pilot scheme on digital transformation for SMEs. This is a scheme to support the digital transformation of SMEs. Now, apart from digital transformation, we should also be mindful of cybersecurity risks that come with such digital transformation. Do many SMEs sign up for this funding scheme? If the uptake is low, how will the government raise the awareness of SMEs? Now I turn to my next question. It's about staff training. Seminars on cybersecurity were held. 7,100 attendances were recorded, but we have 180,000 civil servants. Sure, not everyone will need such training. But the cybersecurity training should not be restricted to cybersecurity professionals. There are frontline workers with exposure to data. So would it take 10 years for us to get all civil servants to receive cybersecurity training? How can we get everyone in the civil service to receive such cybersecurity training? That is, for everyone who needs such training. There was a time when a number of public bodies experienced cybersecurity incidents. Late last year and early this year, enhancement measures were rolled out. Those measures involve independent cybersecurity tests and stress tests before a system is rolled out. We do simulated attacks to help departments spot vulnerabilities early on, and also take preventive steps, precautionary steps to fix vulnerabilities. In August, a number of management measures were launched. Those measures include strengthening the supervisory role of these bodies. These bodies have to put a senior official or a senior management staff member in charge of IT security. Supervisory work aside, the DPO also looks for public-facing systems, and then the DPO does surprise checks and scans for vulnerabilities. The DPO also alerts these departments to do precautionary remediation. The DPO also performs in-depth cybersecurity audit with these departments. Next year, we will tell departments that we will do those in-depth audit. And then in November, we will do the cybersecurity attack and defense drills. We've looked at the mainland's experience. So we will get departments involved. We will do it in a real-life setting. We will train departments in defense. For this exercise, we will get cybersecurity experts and teams with experience in this field. So some of them will be the red team to be the attackers, and then we will have the blue team to defend the systems. So the blue team can learn what they have to do to protect their systems. We will step up the work. On staff training, I agree with the member. We will arrange training courses for staff members and management staff in INT work. Some such training will be mandatory. Those workers have to obtain the certificate before they can do the work in that area. On training for government workers in general, there will be regular INT seminars, forums, product briefings. The DPO arranges these events. We had this recent seminars. More than 8,000 people joined the event online and offline. We do such events every quarter or every 2 months to reach out to more people. In the government, there are also drills against phishing. So civil servants take part in the exercise to become more aware and more alert to phishing. That helps us spot issues. Now, what about SMEs? I'm sorry, I have to extend the meeting by 30 minutes. But we have to be brief. Support for SMEs matters. Cyberport has this scheme, but that scheme isn't for cybersecurity, because that scheme is for digital transformation. The scheme is for the F&B and retail sectors. That scheme has more to do with the digital economy and digital transformation. Still, we do need tools for SMEs to meet cybersecurity challenges. That's why the HKIRC offers free website checks for domain names ending in .hk. There's also a service, Healthy Webs. That service alerts businesses to potential cybersecurity risks. There are free online training sessions for SME staff too. There's also the Cyber Defender website from the police force. It's a public-private partnership. There's free online cybersecurity checks. One-on-one cybersecurity consultation is also available. So that's a targeted approach to step up the defense, cyber defense of SMEs. Different government schemes are available, and there are technology vouchers. SMEs can pursue digital transformation or step up their cybersecurity defenses through those schemes.
Ms. Eunice Yung, in terms of safeguarding and promoting information security, the DPO has done a lot of work in terms of misauthorized use of computer, there is an increase of some 100 or 1,000% in terms of the number of relevant crimes. We saw an increase from 132 to some 1,000 crimes over the past few years. What is the reason behind? At shopping malls and within government departments and bureaus, there are facilities provided for the public to surf the internet. Is it because there have been more people using these facilities to log into their personal accounts? That's why there have been a sharp increase in the number of crimes related to misuse of computer. I see that the government has done a lot of work. Mr. Chen Xiu-hung and Mr. Tang Fei asked a couple of questions about support for SMEs. I understand that it's hard for us to have the SMEs adopt the same set of guidelines like the government does. I hope that in the future, it is not just within the government that we have the policy guidelines. I hope that for SMEs and at the community level, there can be a set of guidelines as well. We see a surge in terms of the number of crimes related to misuse of computer or unauthorized access to online accounts. I want to know if the Security Bureau or the police force have studied the reasons behind. I see that there are guidelines available. However, how effectively have you been following the guidelines? Have you been conducting audits? How do you conduct compliance audits within government departments and bureaus and also among public bodies or organizations? Commissioner. Annex 2 covers statistics provided by the police force. This table here lists out the different types of crimes we saw. We see for some crimes there was an increase in number. A number of members have expressed their views on these crimes. We see there is a major surge in terms of internet deception such as naked chat or online or internet blackmailing. I think this has to do with whether people are vigilant. I think the police force can do more to step up people's awareness about these frauds. On technical guidelines, the DPO has made available or made public our guidelines for different sectors' reference. These are mostly technical guidelines. In the future, we will work with the HKIRC or the HK Search to see if we can publish a simpler version of these guidelines so that SMEs would find it easier to follow these guidelines. The HKIRC and the HK Cert have been regularly holding training sessions and online educational campaigns and modules for SMEs. These courses and training help step up SMEs' staff's knowledge, and through these courses, SMEs may be more alert to cybersecurity risks. Mr. Holden Chow. I'd like to write on the point of the surge in the number of misuse of computer. The government has been asking the public to stay vigilant against online deception. The publicity campaign has been quite effective. However, we are talking about a 20-fold increase in terms of the relevant crimes. On crimes related to unauthorized access to online service accounts, the public is concerned about these crimes. Does the government or the police force have relevant information about these crimes? As the government continues to roll out measures such as cybersecurity-related measures, do you foresee a drop in these crimes? Or would you step up measures to guard against these crimes? Commissioner. We see a significant increase in the number of crimes relating to unauthorized access to online accounts. We also see an increase in monetary loss in these crimes. People have their accounts stolen because they fall victims to some phishing scams, and they have their passwords or usernames stolen. So the key is to remind the public not to randomly click certain links. For instance, links that you get through emails or SMS. They should not be randomly clicked into. That's why we have the scan meter from the police force. It is to remind the public to check the authenticity of different links. The police has been working with the HKMA on enhancing cybersecurity when people use the faster payment system. We will step up publicity in this regard. Like Mr. Holden Chow said, there are certain cybersecurity risks that we face. That's why we encourage that when the public use public Wi-Fi or public computers, they should not use these facilities to engage in activities that involve their personal information. For instance, they should not use public computers to log into bank accounts. We ask the public not to use free Wi-Fi to do these activities. Mr. Dennis Leung. Schools have had their information stolen by hackers. The administration said that the HKIRC has been offering free website checking services. Can you tell us about the situation of schools with websites using these checking services? After receiving such services, do schools see an improvement in terms of enhancing their IT system so that their information does not get stolen? Also, what are the details about these free checking services? What kind of services do schools get? Some NGOs engaging in social welfare service, they have systems including public information and personal information. Do you have an idea of the security level of their systems? towards the end of this year, there will be an attack and defense drill conducted by the government. Is this drill just for government departments and bureaus? For public bodies or organizations that have a hold of a lot of personal information of the public? What is the government's role in minimizing the cybersecurity risks faced by these public organizations so that they won't be subject to hackers' attack or cyber attacks? Commissioner. The HKIRC has just launched a pilot scheme that covers the education sector, including schools. It is a pilot service or pilot scheme, so we don't have the relevant figures and statistics yet. We will ask the HKIRC to collect data and statistics on what kind of service users they have offered support to. The HKIRC conducts scanning for school websites to see if there are any loopholes or vulnerabilities. If there are any loopholes or vulnerabilities, the HKIRC would offer participating schools or organizations on how to improve their IT systems. The upcoming attack and defense drill will involve government bureaus and departments. We will invite public bodies and organizations that may face high cybersecurity risks to take part in the drill. Based on our risk assessments and the system scales, we will invite public bodies or organizations to take part in the drill as observers, to prepare for them to join next year's drill. This is what we have been working on now. As mentioned, the government has been doing a lot of work to enhance cybersecurity. We ask not only government departments and bureaus to stick to our requirements, we also ask public bodies and organizations under the purview of these departments and bureaus to comply with the requirements as well. Mr. Kenneth Falk. I am the chairman of the Arts Development Council. This April, the Arts Development Council encountered cyber attack. Paragraph 6 of this paper mentioned about cybersecurity management of systems of public organizations and bodies. Well, the Arts Development Council is not a huge organization. However, we do face cybersecurity risks. The paper mentions about manpower. After the cybersecurity incident we faced, we have been encountering difficulties in terms of engaging in experts to help deal with our system. The paper mentioned about the role of senior officials. We need IT personnel and talent to detect cybersecurity risks. For small-scale public bodies and organizations, we do not have enough resources to engage IT experts to do this work. There are 169 public organizations in Hong Kong. It's hard for all of these organizations to ask for government subsidies. Can there be a central system that can be shared between the government and these public organizations? For instance, the system can be shared with the Hong Kong Sports Institute as well as other arts and cultural organizations. This would be very helpful for these public bodies and organizations. With a lack of resources, it's been hard for us to upgrade our servers and IT system as well. It's hard for us to get timely update of our firewalls and systems. People have been talking about the cloud systems nowadays. However, the relevant services are expensive. My colleagues told me that we do not have enough money to get these cloud services. Sensitive information should not be stored at our cloud system. However, we do need a cloud system to store other types of information. Can there be a set of guidelines telling us how to use our cloud system properly and at the same time is affordable for us? Also, on protocol. Sometimes after cyber attacks, different public organizations adopt different ways to deal with them. Should we report the cases to the police first, or should we go to telecom service providers or the PCPD? Which party should we go to after a cybersecurity incident? I hope that more information about this can be shared with public organizations, so that we can better protect people's personal data.
Commissioner, I thank Mr. Falk for his questions. We encourage the Arts Development Council to take part in our exercises. We will be inviting organizations to take part in the attack and defense drill, or at least take part as an observer. The member mentioned resources and talent. I get his point. With cybersecurity becoming more of a concern, public and private bodies need resources to do that work. Something we're working on is inviting larger cybersecurity businesses in the mainland to look here and come here to offer these services to our bodies. And also, we help these mainland businesses go global. We will step up the work to bring more cybersecurity firms and workers to Hong Kong. Mr. Falk also wondered whether there are centralized platforms or services for public bodies. We're talking to bodies in the industry. That is, the cybersecurity industry. We're in talks with these bodies about offering cost-effective solutions to government bodies. These businesses have to look at the potential number of participating bodies so that they can find a way to better support public bodies. We will remain in touch with these public bodies as we find ways to bring together the cybersecurity industry to step up cybersecurity in Hong Kong. Thank you. Professor William Wong. Thank you, Madam Chair. We have broadly similar questions. Now, for this year's policy address, I put in a proposal. Many organizations were targeted by hackers. Those bodies consulted the OGCIO back then. So those organizations knew how to set up their IT systems. But to actually have everything in place was costly. A shared IT platform would be a good idea. I'm pleased to know that the commissioner who just said that they're working on this, because organizations lack the money to create such a platform. But different bodies have shared needs, so it would be good for the DPO to keep following up this matter. Other members have also highlighted the shortage of talent. Does the government draw up plans and projections of the number of cybersecurity professionals we need for the next 2 or 3 years? If we're short of such workers, where should we find such workers? That will help us plan our cybersecurity education and training. Now, information security, cybersecurity, we use AI-based systems these days. Security matters. During training, data, if they're not properly guarded, can give rise to hallucination. And that leads to bad outcomes. So will there be legislation or guidelines to deal with the spreading of false information and malicious attacks? My next question also has to do with AI. The response from generative AI may not be desirable. That's why we need people, human in the loop. Will the government consider guidelines or legislation for the industry to achieve human in the loop? Who would take the question, please? Undersecretary. I thank Professor Wong for the suggestions he just gave us. We will actively consider good measures, good solutions. The member mentioned cybersecurity professionals. We don't have a detailed breakdown, but we do have a rough picture. The VTC conducted a human resources survey back in 2022. The survey found Hong Kong had roughly 1,000 cybersecurity professionals, half of them. That is, we had 1,000 information security professionals, half of them were cybersecurity specialists. Different industries need cybersecurity specialists. The government is working on the latest round of manpower projection covering different industries. We want that projection to cover cybersecurity professionals too. We need to build up a bank of talent. We mentioned seminars, workshops, and partnerships with tertiary institutions about certificate programs. We also mentioned drills and annual summits. Cybersecurity is also an industry, as the commissioner said. There are strong cybersecurity firms in the mainland. We want those firms to come here. We want them to bring their cybersecurity experts here. We are working full steam ahead on this. Now, on artificial intelligence, AI is moving fast. The governance principles of AI matter, and that includes the content. The DPO developed an ethics framework on AI. There are also guidelines covering data security governance and personal privacy. The ethics framework was updated in August. The framework covered materials on the use of generative AI. The PCPD also issued guidelines on the use of generative artificial intelligence. We will keep an eye on new technologies. We will update our guidelines to move with the times. Mr. Chen Kim-po. The speaker is not coming through. I was away for another meeting, so bear with me if I'm repeating questions asked by others. Government departments were targeted by hackers. Many people are using I Am Smart. More people will use it. So much personal data is in the same app. Does the government have enough safeguards to protect that data? Different departments are engaging in publicity to get people to guard against scammers. That's just a principle, but scams keep evolving. New tactics are used by criminals. So can we tell people about cases, real-life examples? We must send two key messages. For all scams, criminals ask you for money. People should guard against people you have never met and people asking you for money. Unless you are in a safe setting, you do not enter your bank password. We have to send these two messages. Can we show people real-life examples? The way we educate the public should also evolve. The Commissioner will take the first question and I will take the second. Thank you. Mr. Chen asked about I Am Smart. We have enough cybersecurity safeguards for I Am Smart. We do not store sensitive personal data on I Am Smart. People sign up for the app. That app is just a key. The personal identity is not stored on I Am Smart. That data rests with the Immigration Department. When cross-checking is needed, we check against the Immigration Department's data. So the criminals get nothing by hacking into I Am Smart. Now, people use the EME function, but the information is encrypted on the government's own cloud platform. Several layers of safeguards are in place. We have our own safeguards, and then there's the cloud-based platform with encryption. We will not be complacent. Every year, we assess the risks. We perform the privacy impact assessment. We also do tests with red teams. In November, that drill will also test our safeguards to see if the safeguards are up to scratch. If the safeguards fall short, we will fix them. Undersecretary, I thank Mr. Chen for his questions. We have to get the message across so that people guard against scammers. Technology is one aspect. The police force is also doing publicity through a number of ways. We have the Scam Meter and Scam Meter Plus. Those are tools for people to spot suspicious bank accounts in bank transfers. More than 650,000 safety alerts have been sent out. The scam meter has been linked up with the database on the HKMA side. So if a transfer recipient's information matches the database of suspicious characters, alerts come up. The police force also has launched comprehensive publicity materials, teaching materials for schools on Douyin, on WhatsApp. The force tells people about the latest fraud tactics. When you get a video call, you ask the other party to move their head to verify their identity. And when scam calls come, we use scam meter. August was the anti-scam month. On your water bill, in fact, in the first quarter's water bill this year, the QR code of Scam Meter Plus was included on the bill. We take an accessible approach. We make things accessible to the public as we step up work on scams.
15分。
I'll have to extend the meeting for another 15 minutes, Mr. Michael Luke. I have a comment on the Scam Meter app. Some IT experts or cybersecurity experts told me that the Scam Meter app cannot completely intercept fraudulent websites. I want to know how frequently the police updates the data on the Scam Meter. Can the police force simplify the design of the Scam Meter? There are different types of alerts the police issued to members of the public through the Scam Meter. Earlier, we saw many suspicious websites where photos of senior government officials are included. Did the government request the relevant websites or platforms to remove the fraudulent information or ads? For servers that are not located in Hong Kong, you might not be able to ask the platform to remove the information. Are there ways for the government to block these websites or information so that people won't have a chance to log into these websites or platforms and they therefore won't be deceived or scammed? Undersecretary. We welcome sectors as well as members of this council to give us feedback on how the police force can upgrade the Scam Meter app. We will pass on any comments we get to the police force so that it can upgrade the system. The police hold online inspections and law enforcement actions from time to time to combat cyber-related crimes. Platforms or websites involving fraudulent ads or information may be detected by the police, and the police would request the relevant parties to remove this information to reduce the chance of the public to get hold of such information. In case there are uncooperative platform operators, what would the police do? Or there might be cases where it is hard for the police to contact the website operators because their servers are not located in Hong Kong. How would the police deal with these situations? As far as I understand, the Hong Kong police force has been working with the relevant sectors to take operations or actions. For details, we might ask the police to provide more information. You may have to follow up on this at the security panel. This might be a topic for the security panel to follow up on. However, I do think that the police should be given power to ask relevant platforms to remove fraudulent information. The police will have to have the relevant legal power so that members of the public will not come across any fraudulent information on websites. It's now my turn. This topic is close to many members' heart. That's why 18 members attended this meeting, and all of them have spoken. Online deceptions and cyber crimes are prevalent. There are naked chats and romance scams. There are also unauthorized use or access to online service accounts. The relevant numbers are staggering. I believe at the security panel we can follow up on these online deceptions and crimes. However, the administration should remind the public of the relevant risks. The police have launched extensive publicity campaigns. However, there are still a lot of people who have not got hold of such information. At this panel, we care about what support SMEs get. Understand that the government has issued some new guidelines. However, public bodies, NGOs, and schools have told us about their difficulties. For instance, lack of manpower to ensure the security of their IT systems. Would the government target different groups? For instance, we have 1,000 schools. Would there be bulk procurement or purchase of services for these groups so that schools do not have to procure firewall services or other types of services that they need on their own? I'm referring to at least government schools. We have 169 public bodies in Hong Kong. Some of them are in the arts and culture industry. They may not know how to deal with cybersecurity risks. It may be too late when they encounter cybersecurity incidents. Can you think of ways to help them? NGOs face similar issues. They hold personal information. For instance, there is an NGO that got cyber attacked. That NGO holds a lot of information of their donors. Leakage of data may influence or affect public confidence in the organization. These NGOs may not have their own IT personnel to ensure the security of their own systems. You mentioned that there are services offered to SMEs, but it looks like not a lot of SMEs are aware of these programs. So I think there needs to be more publicity. People taking out insurance may face cybersecurity risks as well. Can there be a cybersecurity audit standards to lower insurance premiums so that more people can benefit? I think these are part of the support that the business sector needs. The truth is we do not have enough IT talents. We're short of manpower. We have to think of ways to step up training so that we have more IT talents in Hong Kong. Undersecretary, let me invite the Commissioner to elaborate. Thank you, Madam Chair. You offer some very good advice. These are complex issues that we have to deal with. However, we have heard your views. We will study the suggestions to see how we can step up cybersecurity across different sectors. Agenda item 4, AOB. Nothing under AOB. Meeting adjourned.